What is this? This is going to be our hunting rifle update tier list for weapons. Mainly, this is going to be if you want to win your games, which weapon should you be picking up to win your games? First one up, Tommy gun. I think it's probably not actually meta anymore. It used to be. It absolutely used to be. It's definitely a great weapon. I wouldn't put it any lower. Now, the problem with Tommy gun is its spread. It has got quite a bit of spread on it. So anything at short to medium range, you start to miss a lot of your shots. It does have a lot better damage output than something like an SMG, but with the accuracy nerfs or tweaks recently, I don't think it's meta anymore. What have we got next? Scourge blades. Scourge blades have got to be meta. Like, even if you're not using them for melee itself, just the movement ability alone of the Scourge blades it's unreal. You will have good players picking this up just for that alone. It also has the best damage output for melee as well. Next, we have the sniper rifle. I'd say it's meta. It's possibly the best weapon for opening a fight with, on the condition that you have a secondary weapon to back it up with. The regular sniper, not the gold one. The gold one is terrible. But the sniper rifle is definitely great. Especially if you hit a headshot, it's like a guaranteed kill. There's very, very little you can actually do to avoid being taken out afterwards. And any kind of distance fights, you're just going to dominate with a sniper rifle. Next up, dual pistols. These are kind of meh. Don't get me wrong, the dual pistols are one of the most fun weapons that I've ever seen, honestly, especially since their latest fire rate buff. But the damage just isn't there. The damage range isn't there. Again, they make a very good secondary weapon for something like a sniper rifle. But in terms of just the weapon itself, it's very average. Oh, the hunting rifle. It is a great weapon, and I will fight over this if we need to. It allows you to both engage into a fight. It allows you to track enemies. The range on this thing is impeccable. The one downside it has is how fast you can aim down sight accurately. And the damage is kind of lacking compared to the sniper rifle. But, like, in terms of fun, this would be absolute top tier fun weapon. Dual crossbows. Unfortunately, I want to put these things in meta. They're not meta. They're great. They are great weapons. Unfortunately so. Like, I hate the fact that they are great weapons. The problem is you can spam these things so easily. They do so much damage. You can't hear them coming. But the downside is long reloads. And if you kind of miss, you're sort of screwed. Again, it's one of these weapons where you have to have an amazing secondary weapon or you are kind of putting yourself out. The revolver. I'm sorry. The revolver is kind of meh now. It used to be very good. But honestly, since the accuracy and the aim down sight nerfs to the revolver, it's kind of meh. You have got to really concentrate on hitting your shots with this thing. Sure, you can get some really good kills where you just spam headshots after headshots, but that is a lot less easy to do now since it's been nerfed. Definitely a usable weapon though. In the right hands, you can dominate. Minigun. Honestly, I'm going to put this in meh. Like, once you get this spin up going, this thing absolutely destroys. There is no better weapon in the game than the minigun once it's spun up. The problem is, you have to get it going. This is why I love the minigun so much in Bloodhunt. It is really well balanced. Because the spin up time kills the potential. We've got a starter pistol. Honestly, the starter pistol isn't even a pro. It isn't even a pro. This thing reloads so well, and you're better off. You're better off using a starter pistol in a group rather than running off trying to get different weapons and fighting with one person or two people. It's bad, but it also kind of slaps. In the right situations, it slaps. The SMG, this is a favorite one for me. I enjoy this silenced SMG so much, but it is so meh right now. It really is. The damage output is actually kind of bad. The amount of bullets you get in a magazine is kind of bad. The fire rate is amazing, but the one thing is, you have to accompany that with something else. If you don't get a Vandal Slam, or if you don't find someone hidden in a corner, it kind of sucks. Pump action shotgun. The damage on this thing when you actually hit, it does hit hard. Because of the spread nerfs and the damage range nerfs, I honestly, I think it's kind of bad. I think both shotguns are in a bad state. I think it's a good thing that they're bad. It's so hard to get good use out of these, and you have to be so close up. And when you are so close up, you can just use something else. You can sometimes get a 120, sometimes get a 9. It is very random. What else we got? Katana. Katana's absolutely meta. Absolutely meta. If you are a melee main, you should be using Katana over anything else. Just the reflect alone, absolute one of the best abilities in the game. And I don't really know what much you can say about the Katana. It's top tier. What we've got? LMG. LMG is absolutely meta. Absolutely. You can combine this with basically any other weapon and you have a solid loadout. The LMG gives you so much freedom over every other situation. Like, as soon as you get it going, it gets more and more accurate, and it's great. It's just the perfect secondary weapon. The knife. The knife is proing. I'm sorry. The knife sucks. Don't get me wrong. The noise of pulling the knife out from your back, that noise, that is great. Anything else, damage sucks, range sucks, fire rate sucks. It is just a bad weapon overall. It's mildly better than using your fists. That's the only reason this exists, basically. And I'm sorry to, like, the entire Sharkmob team who seem to be in chat today. I'm sorry, the knife is just terrible. Dual daggers. Now, this is actually an interesting one. The dual daggers, they are super fun to use. But for damage, I think they're kind of meh. And I'll tell you why. The daggers, very fun to use. You can get some insane damage going with them, especially if you combine it with the jump attack where you use both knives at once. Insane damage. But the whole point of melee, you want to be focusing on getting your lifesteal, basically. If you can get lifesteal from melee, that's what makes melee so good. And these take away from your lifesteal. Any damage you do, which is not the actual damage from the knife itself, is just lost. Good weapon, great fun. Meh. Marksman. I think this one kind of depends on your aim a little bit. I'm going to put it in great. It is a very, very powerful weapon, but you have to hit your shots. And if you miss your shots, like even 1 or 2 shots, suddenly the power of that weapon drops drastically. If it was the gold variant definitely meta, 100%. Next weapon, we have the AK. The AK is such a good all-rounder weapon. It's similar to the LMG, but it does everything worse than the LMG, I think. There's a small window between short and medium range where the AK dominates over the LMG because of the accuracy it has in the first couple of bullets. Other than that, the AK is kind of... I mean, it just does everything. It doesn't do anything great. It just does it. At the end of the day, if all you want to do is shoot people, pick up the AK. We have the axe. The axe is bad. I'm sorry. The axe has become bad since there were some changes to the axe and katana damage. The axe is just a worse katana in every single way. Yeah, it sounds great. When you get a hit with this thing, it sounds like you have hit that person. But in terms of actual gameplay, I would drop this over a bat any day. What do we have next? The crossbow. Crossbow's kind of bad still. I'm going to put it in bad, but it's an amazing zoning tool. If you are only using this as a zoning tool, it would be possibly the best weapon in the game to do so with. But in terms of actually trying to kill people with, it's pretty bad. I don't think it needs a buff, though. I think it's in a pretty balanced spot where you can deal damage with it, and the gas is enough to kind of make you want to leave the gas now without necessarily being overpowered. I just don't think it's a very good weapon to kill people with. It just kind of sucks. Crowbar, again, sorry, it's a pro. Not only can you not find these, but again, damage, everything is terrible. Like, we do challenges using these weapons for a reason. It's because it's actually a challenge. Toggler. The toggler is an amazing range and close-up tool, but the reload is so bad. And they have nerfed the close-up spread. I'm gonna say it's a great weapon. Like, you can do a lot of damage with this thing. It's not the best at any given range, but the close-up spray kills people so fast. You just swap between the modes. That's the strongest part of the toggler, the fact that you can switch between medium range and close range. It's another very good weapon for combining with something else. Burst rifle has, I'm going to say bad, because we need to remember this has 2 fire rates as well. In its burst fire rate, it's bad. It is just plain out bad. Since the nerfs, it's terrible. Don't use it in the burst mode. Please do not. In semi-auto, it's a little bit of a different story. The semi-auto mode has a much better DPS, much better accuracy. You can hipfire the thing pretty well, but then again, it's not actually that strong unless you're hitting headshots consistently, at which point you might as well just pick up a marksman or something. The only advantage to doing that is you don't have to use marksman ammo and you can just spam it for days. But overall, I think it's pretty bad. Spiked bat, it's definitely meh. Like, it's nowhere near as good as the katana or a scourge blade or anything else, but in very particular situations, and I mean the opponent is a certain amount of hit points, you have a certain amount of choleric buffs, the spiked bat does actually technically outperform the katana in damage. The problem is you don't have the reflectability. Okay, so double-barreled shotgun is pretty bad. Like, both shotguns are pretty bad. Like, the problem isn't the damage, because it can do a lot of damage. A lot of damage up close. But the inconsistency of it is atrocious. It really is. I've been hitting people with 2 shots for like 15 damage, but then other times you hit them for like 240 something. It's kind of crazy. I'd be on the verge to say it's a pro. 9-barrel rifle, I'd put it down here. And this is going to stir some people up because this is not a terrible weapon at times. Like, the concept is fun, but I'm sorry, it just kind of sucks. It kind of sucks. Like, if you can get your full spray into a target, which is kind of medium-ish range, yeah, in the right hands, 1 clip and they're gone. They are deleted, and it's one of the fastest weapons in the game at doing that. But it requires you to hit so many shots that you have to be either that close to the person where other weapons would do better, including the shotguns, which are just bad, or you could change it around and go, okay, let's use it as a marksman rifle. In which case, yeah, the damage is kind of there, but how fast you can do the damage is not. It's pretty slow. I think we have got everything. Unless Bloodhunt game wants to secretly leak a future weapon. Cough. Cough. Here we go. Cough. So what do you think? Where did your favorite weapon end up on the list? Let me know down in the comments, and make sure you check out my recent hunting rifle gameplay. Remember to subscribe with notifications on if you enjoy the content, and I will catch you in the next one.